Good morning, or good afternoon, or honestly, I have no idea when you're going to watch this, but I'm JP, the Stable Cyclist, and today is World Bipolar Day. Now, I started this channel to share stories from my own bipolar life, and today seemed like a great day to dive into the idea of what the heck is bipolar? It's also the first episode in a series on this channel called Guardrails and Signposts. So let's dive in. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in December of 2020, and it was a long and winding road to get to that diagnosis. We'll dive into that in future episodes, but today I want to talk about what bipolar is and what bipolar isn't, because there's a lot of misunderstanding on the topic. And chances are there's someone in your life who you know who has bipolar, or you're familiar with the term at the very least. Now, before I go any further, I should add, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a regular guy with a story. And I'm a teacher, so I'm gonna try and explain things the best that I can. But this shouldn't be used for medical advice or used to diagnose someone at your next family reunion. If you or someone you know needs help, you need to get real help from a medical professional. When I was a kid, bipolar disorder was called manic depressive syndrome. And today, many people think bipolar disorder is just wild mood swings and erratic behavior. But it's different from the normal ups and downs people go through in their day-to-day. The symptoms of bipolar disorder are severe. And untreated bipolar can lead to poor job performance or school performance. It can lead to damaged relationships, and it can even lead to suicide. The good news is that bipolar disorder is very treatable. And people with bipolar disorder, once in treatment, can live full and functional lives. Now, here in America, about 5.7 million adults, or 2.6% of the population, have bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder typically develops in late teens or early adulthood. However, some people have their first symptoms during childhood, and some develop them late in life. It's often not recognized as an illness, and people may suffer for years before they're diagnosed properly. For example, despite leaving breadcrumbs like these, I went over 10 years with untreated symptoms of bipolar disorder before I was finally diagnosed. Like diabetes or heart disease, bipolar disorder is a long-term illness and requires careful management throughout a person's life. Now, bipolar disorder does include dramatic mood swings, from overly high and energetic or irritable states to sad and hopeless, and then back again, often with periods of normal mood in between. Severe changes in energy, behavior, and attention are common, and these periods are called manic episodes, and the low periods are called depressive episodes. But these mood changes aren't calm one minute, wild the next, and then depressed. They ebb and flow, usually over a longer period of time. For many people with bipolar, their entire year might look like this, or even this, if it's really well managed. If the manic episode is mild, it's often called hypomania. This can actually feel good for the person who's experiencing it, and is usually associated with high function and enhanced productivity. But hypomania can be tricky to navigate, especially if the person who is hypomanic doesn't realize it or can't realize it. Speaking from experience, hypomania can be pretty awesome. But if you lean into it too much, or if you ignore what's happening, it can lead to severe mania, and that will harm you and your daily life. Depression is the beast that most people are familiar with, whether they know someone with bipolar or not. Depression is usually associated with feeling sad, but it's much more. Low moods, low energy, feeling hopeless. Those are just a few of the many symptoms that occur when depressed. To sum all of them up at once, for those who are experiencing depression, it can be difficult to do anything. Severe episodes of mania and depression can include psychosis. I have been fortunate enough to not have experienced this, at least so far. But when a person is experiencing psychosis, they may see, hear, or believe things that are not real or not in touch with reality. For example, during mania, delusions of grandiosity may occur, such as thinking they're the president, or they have special powers, or they're extremely wealthy. During depression, delusions of guilt or worthlessness can occur, such as believing that one is ruined or penniless, or has committed some terrible crime. People who have these symptoms are often misdiagnosed as having schizophrenia. Episodes of mania and depression will recur across the lifespan of a person with bipolar disorder. And if untreated, these ups and downs will become severe and they can lead to catastrophic events in these people's lives. Now, the good news, as I said before, bipolar disorder is very treatable, and treatment can help smooth out the highs and the lows. They're never completely gone, but they are less severe and don't lead to full-blown episodes with severe behavior. The best news in all of this is that there are millions of people, just like me, who have bipolar disorder and with treatment have been able to live functional and successful lives. Honestly, some days it's a lot of work, and some days it seems nearly impossible. But there's hope and encouragement in getting treatment and knowing there are so many others just like me who are fighting the fight. If you know someone with bipolar, please take the time today to reach out to them. You don't need to point out that they're bipolar, and you don't need to tell them that you just watched a video on YouTube about bipolar and now you understand everything. Just reach out to them and let them know that they are loved. Finally, if you need help, call 988, which is the National Suicide Lifeline, providing 24/7 free and confidential support to people in suicidal crisis or emotional distress. The Lifeline helps thousands of people overcome crisis situations every day. Some other great resources specific to bipolar disorder can be found at the International Bipolar Foundation. Much of the information I gave you today came from their website, which is linked in the description below. This is our first episode in a series on this channel called Guardrails and Signposts. In this series, we'll take a look at the different components of bipolar disorder. I'll tell you what it's like to be manic, and I'll talk about how I work through my depressive spells, as well as a lot of other things related to bipolar disorder. Sometimes we'll talk about the bike on these episodes, but only when it's relevant to the content. Most of the episodes in this series, Guardrails and Signposts, will be dedicated to bipolar disorder and mental health. Thanks for hanging out today. If you want to come along for the ride, be sure to hit subscribe. And if you enjoyed the content today, please hit the like button. Finally, remember to reach out to those around you, whether they're bipolar or not, and remind them that they are loved. I'm JP, the Stable Cyclist. We'll see you next time.